This is the G Podcast with your host, Tommy B.
News team, assemble!
It's time for the Week in News with Syracuse Mike.
A preliminary medical examiner's report says longtime South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham suffered a ruptured aorta related to hardened arteries before he died suddenly over the weekend. Graham, who was 71 and a close ally of President Trump, had served in Congress for more than 30 years.
He was like a member of the family to me. It's very tough, actually.
That's President Trump on NBC's Meet the Press Sunday. An 18-year-old's death remains under investigation in Mississippi as a close friend speaks out for the first time. In an interview with Good Morning America, Trayston Shepard said Nolan Wells' friends are devastated and insists no one in their group would ever hurt him. Wells disappeared during a July 4th outing on Horn Island, and his body was found in the water 2 days later. His family continues to question the circumstances surrounding his death. Attorneys for the family of Nolan Wells say they will work with prosecutors to inspect the contents of his cell phone as the investigation into his death continues. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump says the DA also plans to present the completed case to a grand jury. President Donald Trump used a primetime address Thursday night to again question the results of past elections. Mr. Trump announced he is releasing previously classified documents related to the 2020 and 2018 elections.
Hundreds of thousands of non-citizens and dead people are listed and active on the voter rolls, and yet we still have elections with no voter ID, no proof of citizenship, and tens of millions of ballots floating aimlessly through the mail.
The president alleged interference and outside influence, but did not provide evidence that votes were manipulated or that the outcomes of those elections were changed. Federal health officials are investigating whether lettuce served at Taco Bell is linked to a nationwide cyclospora outbreak. The FDA is tracing the illness to iceberg lettuce supplied by Taylor Farms, which is based in California. That lettuce came from Mexico. Taco Bell said it's voluntarily removing the lettuce from affected locations and replacing it nationwide. The parasite-related outbreak has spread to 34 states, sickening thousands and sending more than 100 people to the hospital.
Thank you, Syracuse Mike, for the headlines. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 320 of This is the G Podcast. Yes. We are your weekly recap podcast, news, politics, pop culture, and the tea with Tonya B. I'm Tommy B. I'm your host. There's a lot to unpack this week, y'all. Tonya B's coming up with the big three in pop culture this week. The death of actor Hal Williams. You know him from 227 and from Sanford and Son. Diddy lands a big real estate deal. And we'll update you on the Nolan Wells investigation. Plus, I've got another What You Watching, Tommy B. I know it's been a minute. But the movie is God Is. It hits a few streaming platforms, and I'll give you my take. And I'll close it out, y'all. Would you choose Cory Booker for higher office? Think about it. Let's take a break, and we'll come back with the tea. This is the G Podcast. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Tommy B, and I'm putting you on official notice right now. Saturdays are officially locked down. We are taking you on a 12-hour, non-stop sonic journey. We're blending that high-energy, up-tempo R&B you love, smashing it into golden-era old-school hip-hop, infusing it all together with the absolute hottest current R&B hits on the planet. Yes, it's the ultimate weekend cookout vibe, right through your speakers. No filler, no stops, just pure, unadulterated musical heat. You know what time it is. Reunion Saturday. Saturdays 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Velvet Frequency Radio at castropolis.net. Turn it up! Hey, what's up, y'all? We are back, and, you know, we couldn't do it without this.
Now then, children, it's time for tea.
It's tea time, y'all. Sipping the tea with Tonya B.
Just me and you, TNT.
Yeah, that's it. Hey.
It is a crazy day. You know, it's always, it's the heat.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of power, let's get this show done before the power goes out again. How about that? Okay.
Real inside joke.
Okay.
But
yeah.
Let's roll, y'all. Let's roll. Okay. What you got?
Okay, I'm going to talk to you about a legendary actor that we lost earlier this week. And you may not know the name Hal Williams, but if you are a baby boomer, or if you were raised in a household where your mom and then Miss Mary or your nana or your auntie watch television. Remember, Friday nights was Sanford and Son, where Hal Williams played Officer Smitty. And then Must See TV every Saturday, 227, Hal Williams played the husband of Marla Gibbs. You had Jack A. Harry, hey Mary, hey Lester. And then a very young Regina King, who would go on to win an Oscar. And, one thing I want to say about Hal Williams is that he really showed us what a present, hardworking, entrepreneurial Black or brown father looked like. Although he owned a construction company and he was, making his bones, you notice he never left the neighborhood. They never left that apartment and, left Pearl and all the rest of them. They always stayed in the apartment. And another thing about, Hal Williams, you just kind of loved him. He was kind of like really everybody's dad too. I know at one point they called Bill Cosby America's dad, but we all know what was happening over there. Over at the Cosby Show. But Lester Jenkins on 227, I think he's one of the top TV sitcom fathers, especially for those of us of a certain pigmentation situation. And I really have to say 5 on it to Jack A. Harry and Marla Gibbs, who posted heartfelt tributes about Hal Williams, again, about how he really showed America what a Black dad is. He wasn't gone for long stretches of time. You notice Lester was never unemployed, right?
Right, that's true. That's true.
He always worked. And again, entrepreneurship back in the time when a lot of people didn't have that. But then it also spoke to his work ethic, because in the show he was always hardworking. But do you know that for the first few years that he was even on Sanford and Son, and you have your actors' equity to keep you, you and your family covered and have your benefits and things for health and dental. But he kept his overnight shift at the post office, because you never know when the show is going to end, right?
Oh yeah, back in the 70s, you can't blame him because there weren't that many Black shows. Yeah.
Right. And then he, like Marla Gibbs, who kept her job at the airlines, they would leave their day jobs or their night jobs, and then they would go to work on the set. So imagine, he probably got disco naps, maybe 4 hours a night, because you had an 8-hour shift at the post office, then you could go and possibly be on set for 10 hours waiting for your cue. So I just also want to shout out Hal Williams for the body of work that he left us, but also for the fact that was just old school, flat foot ground in the cornmeal work ethic. And I love the fact that he did a lot of interviews talking about his past. I hope it will encourage other Black and brown actors.
Yeah, and one of the other tributes I thought was a really heartfelt tribute was from Lenny Kravitz. And I follow Lenny Kravitz, and I wasn't aware, because Lenny's mom was Roxy Roker.
Yes. And Al Roker is his cousin.
From the Jeffersons. So the whole thing, apparently they were doing plays together. They did, I guess Lenny as a kid did plays with Hal. And they got to a point where Hal would pick him up from school, get him home. Sometimes he said he'd have to stay at Hal's apartment, and Hal would help him with his homework. I think he got to know Roxy, and he became almost like a brother. He said like a brother to him. I mean, it was really heartfelt, and I had no clue. But Hollywood's a tight community. A lot of them knew each other.
Yeah, especially during that time in the Black and brown communities, there weren't a whole lot of opportunities back then for people that looked like.
But really, I mean, without a doubt, I think a lot of people probably because of the time period, they moved on. But I'm glad people are giving him his flowers and giving him these tributes. Really nice, really nice. What you got next? What you got?
Oh, let's go on down to the messy side of town. Let's talk about, Puffy and his ongoing legal battles. Now he's still sitting behind bars, and he's not going to be out for at least till 2028. But he bought this massive mansion on Miami's exclusive Star Island. Now I know somebody. Every Friday he used to have parties at that house, and this person would get invited. He said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I never went," because the debauchery was going on. They were doing freak off back then. And now he sold the house for $55 million. Now, he bought it from Gloria and Emilio Estefan, who are like the king and queen of, Miami salsa and pretty much Star Island. They upgraded, sold Puffy their old house. Now, the fact that he sold it for $55 million, but he paid $35 million for it. But by the time you take out, the taxes, all the transfer fees, and, the commissions for the real estate brokers who did the deal, you might get $20 million or so. But inquiring minds want to know, Tommy B, is that enough to get him out of his financial troubles? I don't know, because if you remember, he's been through about 3 or 4 sets of lawyers, and they all want their money. And if he's not paid up when time comes to try to get out, and he's not getting out anyway, they won't do anything if you owe them, 6 digits. Which I'm sure he definitely has a 6-digit bill between all the attorneys. So, I know he's in jail. He's under a federal indictment, but he walked away with money. But see, that is above board, on the table, legal money. We don't know where the other money is. Allegedly might be hidden. But again, some people say that was a fire sale, and to a point it was, but when you need money and you can't move all of your assets because you haven't disclosed where they are or whose name they're in, and you are behind that glass partition down to the jail, there really isn't a whole lot you can do. But let me just say real quickly, I have a friend that lives on Star Island.
Mm-hmm.
And he would tell me about how Puffy used to invite him to the parties and always was really going overboard trying to be friends. He was like, dude, he ran from him and Russell Simmons. But now he said, now that Puffy's no longer here, the property value will go back up because dude was bringing down the property value and bringing down the room down to the Star Island. You heard me say that? Yes, he did. Yeah, he did.
I heard about this and I saw the profit. And I immediately, because we're not going to go into it this week, talking about the R. Kelly requesting the commutation of his sentence, and I'm just thinking, man, Puffy's trying to get out early, and you say 2028, I'm willing to bet you that Puffy gets out sometime mid next year.
Yeah, mid to late 2027, if he completes all these like 100, hours or 100 classes with violence, sexual, all of these classes he's got to take. He's going to do whatever he has to do to get out. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But you know what? He'll take 2 steps forward, like he was doing okay. Then here he goes with the jailhouse phone calls. So you can't do that. Again, that just goes to show you how, in the back of his mind, in some crevice in his mind, he still thinks he's above the law, and he's not. And
it's going to be interesting. I'm here to tell you because Trump is out here selling pardons.
He is selling pardons, but
and he will sell to the highest bidder. So if he comes up with enough money, I guarantee you.
Or you can play golf with him, like some. I know sidebar, and I really hope this isn't true. Lord, please don't let this be true. Don't let it be true that Big Daddy Kane's been hanging with the orange one playing golf. I heard about it. I have not seen the pictures. I will not believe it until I really see it. I don't mean no AI. So Kane, I really hope you haven't done that. Now you got some other idiots like, what's his name? Benny the Butcher and Lord Jamal, who have done that. I said, okay, but people do that because they want something. What these guys want remains to be seen. But just like what's the Boosie who paid over $500,000 to those scammers to get his partner, which he never got.
Oh no, was it more? Was it $500,000 or over $1 million?
It was 600,000 actually.
600,000.
And he still never got the partner. So you know what? Boo boo on you. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's just like, and we won't go into depth with it this week, but it's just like the Jay-Z Target Kaepernick thing. And it's worth a discussion. The whole, rappers named Noriega and Capone, you know what I'm saying? They embrace, the hustler life.
But what?
Even if they weren't, they embrace it. Yeah. And for a fact, Tonya B, that back in New York before where we are in the presidency, that they were truly hanging out in the clubs. He would just show up because he wanted the clout. He wanted just to be seen with them. He wanted to take pictures with them. A lot of them knew him because of the money. They included him in his songs. Hell, he was on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
All right, but wait, the money they thought he had when it was really smoking mirrors. He probably broke as every other broke down rapper from the 80s.
So I do think, and it doesn't excuse it, but these guys were already in bed with them back then.
I know.
Mm-hmm. And it's just rekindling old times, but the sad thing about it is he was still doing the what's it, Central Park,
the Central Park mess. I mean, that's enough right there.
So the reason I mentioned Jay-Z, and sometimes it's like we forgive them even if they don't have a conscience. it's like, okay, I'm still gonna listen to your music, but you ain't got a conscience, but I don't care.
Yeah.
So it does. I think we give certain genres a pass.
Or you give certain people a pass and not others. Certain people. Yeah.
Because if you're in the R&B lane, you tend to, you tend to get swept under the rug real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So just an interesting conversation we should have, because hip hop, they've been getting away with it for a long time.
And may they regret the day they ever.
They don't care. But go on, I digress. Let's go to something important.
But wait, I got something that's just coming off of my bird wire.
Go ahead.
My private AP wire. Hold on, I got this. Okay.
Okay, all right. Let's sing the song.
Right. This we got to talk about, and there's so many moving pieces to this story, and there's something that comes out every day, but we have got to talk about Nolan Wells.
Yeah.
I think this mystery in Mississippi is going to become a movie. Your cousin Ben Crump is down there. But, I want to say 5 on it to Tyler Perry, even Byron Allen, Colin Kaepernick, all those who stepped up to assist his family. Colin Kaepernick, even Jay-Z. See, Jay-Z, I'm so done with him.
Spike Lee. Spike Lee,
yeah. And they have stepped up. Has Jay-Z stepped up? Nope. And he probably won't. But, it's okay. Not needed. This whole thing about, this young man going down to Horn Island with his so-called friends, now more and more of them people are starting to say little bits and pieces. The young men that were on the boat with him, of course, I get it. The family's getting threats. They fear for their lives. They came back home and he did not. And now there's one who was talking, I believe, on Good Morning America, but he didn't want to show his face because he was afraid of what might happen. We talked, I think, last week about the judge whose son was involved in this. But his family is not going away quietly, and I don't blame them. I just look at it as, with these 2 fights that went on, something else happened. And when your white friends say to you, "Oh, you doing so and so and so with that and or that so and so," and I believe it was like seriously foul play going on, and they're afraid to say, "I think they pushed that kid over the side of the boat. I think something happened. They pushed him. They threw him. A fight might have ensued, but all of a sudden everybody's got amnesia. But they won't be having amnesia for long, because I really hope that Reverend Al Sharpton is in this for what it should be, not for a check, because it should be a federal investigation. I think that and you can call me on this if you want to, it's just my opinion, the law enforcement officials in this town in Mississippi are about as adept as the people who are looking for Savannah Guthrie's mother. They really weren't ready for a crime of this magnitude, and they don't know what to do, but they'll never say it. But
here's what I heard, and this was from a couple of sources, and you don't want to say anything. I'm careful in terms of how I say a lot of this, because some of it is speculation.
Allegedly.
But the truth is, the fact that his phones were wiped after he disappeared, they took Snapchat off the text and just the straight SMS texting. They wiped his phone of those 2 things, which could be very incriminating. That's one thing, and that's the key to this. Now, I also heard that, of course, the coroner in this county has a really poor history of, investigating black men. She's got she's got a questionable history. So the fact that a lot of this is being pushed to true professionals, people who have worked like these high level, these high level, what do you call it? Forensic people,
experts. Yes,
experts, and people are paying top dollar for these experts. I think that's going to be I don't want to say death, but that's going to be the downfall of this county. They know that they are in trouble. And I think the fact that they are waiting for Crump and the family to release their information. They're waiting so they can see it. before they release their information. Do you understand what I'm saying? They know what because Trump's kind of playing. I'm not gonna lie to you. His strategy is great because he's saying, why don't you put yours out first? We want to, you know what I'm saying? Because Trump knows that his information is going to be more detailed. It's going to be more specific. It's going to be, I think it's going to be welcomed by the public because it's going to make more sense.
It's going to be reliable.
Yeah, it's going to be much more reliable. I think the county, that area, Mississippi, is very concerned because they know now some real folks are involved in it. Go ahead.
Also, it's going to bring to light their ineptness and their lack of experience.
Exactly.
And they're being questioned, and then now they've got to be held accountable. There's accountability involved. And when people have been going along to get along and doing their very least for so long, now, so the table's being shaken in Mississippi, number one. Number two, there's going to be a crazy lawsuit against the county and the state and anybody that his parents can sue with Ben Crump. You know what? Go get your money because no amount of money is going to bring him back. But these folks need to be held accountable. And what these dumb young children, I say ignorant, because when you're ignorant, you can be educated. When you're dumb, you're just dumb and stupid. These ignorant children, because they didn't know, you can try to delete the break of dawn. But once it's there, it doesn't go away. Once they pull up everything that those young people think that they deleted, that's going to be their can of worms. That's going to be the bomb drop.
There are a couple of things I question, and I have to ask because as a friend, you have friends, you have groups who you hang with.
Yeah, I
would never go somewhere knowing that a friend is left behind, and just say, okay. Unless that person said to me, hey, look, right over there, my ride is right there. But not knowing how that person's going to get back. And then at the beginning, one of the kids said, well, the first thing I said to him was, I love you. If you loved him so much, why would you leave him? The other question I have, and maybe I'm missing the point on this, Tonya B., who's the girl? Because I hear people keep saying, well, he stayed behind for a girl. Okay, when is she going to talk?
Right.
Where is she? Who is she? Because candidly, if he was with a girl, that girl should be front and center.
Yeah, where is she?
And see, the whole thing, Tonya B., on July 6th is when the body was recovered.
Yes.
Okay. On that same day, was it Sheriff John Ledbetter? He said that no foul play is suspected on the same day. Now we're here. Right. How do you know? Now we're here. So from the beginning, he was ready to embrace no foul play. Now we're here. Now we find out the phone's been wiped. Okay. No Snapchat, no text messages. Why would you wipe somebody's phone and then give it to their parents?
Well, first of all, again, we keep saying who would leave even if he's going with some chick, who leaves their phone behind? Come on now, number one.
Right.
And then
no teenager. It's attached.
So
it's a part of their body.
Right. He left his phone behind, but if there was no foul play, why did they pick it up and try to wipe it?
Yeah. And that's my whole thing. So from the 6th, you had the 7th. The family said, no, we're not accepting that. That's why the family got Crump involved on the 7th. Colin Kaepernick got involved. You had the outcry. You had the NAACP and some other civil rights organizations started asking for, hey, if you were on the beach, if you were around, please give up your, footage of whatever you saw. On the 8th, the sheriff finally responded and, tried to, and they went out and started requesting.
He discounted the death of this young black man by saying no.
From the beginning. So for me, it's right. And you know what? It could, I'm not saying all this to say that this could not have been an accident. It could have very well been an accident. But dude, your job is to find out.
Here's the thing.
That's your job.
This is, again, my opinion, nothing more. He can't find out about something he has no experience with. I really think they are in over their heads and they don't know what to do. So what do? You cry no foul play. And the people are crying, yes, foul play. And they're not going away.
And the other thing, Tonya B., and I'll leave it at this, on a remote island, if you're in law enforcement and that's part of your jurisdiction. Why would you not have cameras? It's very you can have, even if you don't have a Wi-Fi network, if you don't have electricity, you can put cameras now on remote islands that are solar.
Yep.
And they're also satellite. You could put satellite cameras and monitor an area. Why would you not monitor an area where teenagers go?
On July
That's
4th
ridiculous.
weekend. Wait, and it's July 4th weekend. Come on now.
You don't even have a cop out there? It's just, I mean, it's just so suspect to me. And you know, I think this is going to open up a lot, like you said. You know, I think it's going to open up a can of worms for some previous autopsies that this woman in this county, I think that's what they're concerned about, the avalanche of prior cases that are going to be requested to be opened.
And their egos.
Oh, no, I think beyond that, I think it's now people are going, the past black autopsies are going to come up again.
Incompetence is another can of worms. And now people say, well, when you don't know what happened, you will never say, I don't know. You just put no foul play, accidental death. Everything was accidental. So now, and like I said, and the lawsuits they'll be flying like bullets at a drive-by. Okay. I'm telling you right now.
It's going to be crazy. And now I guess as of Wednesday, the last thing was the forensic folks. I think they're finished. I think they're waiting to take this to a grand jury, which doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a criminal. There's criminality, but they're going to at least recommend that there are future charges. There are charges.
Whoever let that boy die is criminal.
Absolutely, absolutely. But really and truly, you have to say it's just an irresponsible case. I've never. You know, I saw the guy on Good Morning America taking people out to the area, and he stood there like it was okay. Oh yeah, we don't have any surveillance out here. We don't really know what's going. What? It's your jurisdiction, dude.
And they're right, and that might have been why they took Nolan out there, because they knew or they thought, and that's why this issue. The phone is a critical piece of this entire puzzle. I'm telling you.
Why would you not monitor a remote island? Why would you not at least? Well, it's not even remote because people still go there. If nobody ever went there, and you say, well, nobody ever goes here, we have no record of anybody coming here. I bet you go on that island and some hands start coming up like, what was the movie? Deliverance.
Wait.
I want to talk about that movie. I should not have seen that movie at my age.
Heads start dropping like an apocalypse now. Okay, I'm done.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, nah, okay. Hey, what you got? Anything? You got anything? I mean, I'm just.
No,
you can hear it in my voice. I hate to see this.
I hate to see this. As messy as Chris Brown has been over his adult career, I got to say 500 to him and Usher. Do you know this? I believe, I'm going to call it right now, this will be the top grossing tour of the year. They've already sold over 8 million tickets, and they have grossed, right now, and the tour is maybe about halfway done, over $900 million. It's going to be a multi-billion-dollar tour.
Yeah. I just, what's funny to me, and I don't know if you saw the clip, the viral thing about the husband suing the wife for
again,
how they bring them on stage, and somehow I guess I don't know if this was before they were married or while they what they do when they bring the women on stage. Well, apparently she was one of them, and he was not happy because he saw the viral footage of his wife playing with Chris Brown.
No, they
were
dry humping for real. You can't tell me he didn't get off of that woman without a Woody. I'm saying, come on.
But anyway, what you got? You got anything left? You got anything? Is that it for you?
I just want to say shout out to all the independent musicians who work so hard and who just need to have their voices amplified by people like you with Velvet Frequency and people like you with the Bird Wire. One thing I'll say, shout out to Kevin Ross, who's an indie artist who had to make his bones as well. But I just want people to be encouraged. It doesn't happen overnight. You've got to invest the time, trust the process, and eventually your voice will be amplified. Whether you're, an artist who sings, an artist who creates something, just to all the creators. I just want creators to be encouraged. because, but then you also have to sometimes seek out your opportunity. But we are here.
Yeah, so true. And one other thing before we wrap, we're going to the next segment. I'm going to actually give y'all a review. I haven't done one in a while on what you're watching, Tommy B.
What you got?
But I am not one to like the Odyssey for me. Just reminds me of the torture I went through in high school. I love American Lit. I'm an American Lit guy. Okay, but when it came down to Homer. And
the Odyssey,
and what was it, Beowulf? Oh no, I count me out. So I am not going to pay my money to go see something that tortured me in high school. I'm not. But I will tell you, I went back because it is now on streaming. There is a movie that is called Is God Is. It stars what is it called? What's her name? God.
What did she do? What she look like?
Well, Vivica A. Fox.
Oh, okay.
Vivica. Now, see, the fact that I mentioned the title of the movie and you didn't immediately know the movie says a lot about how this movie was marketed. It wasn't marketed well. It wasn't marketed. It stars Vivica A. Fox and Sterling K. Brown. Wow. And I will tell you. I think it gets an unfair shake. I'll present that and I'll talk to it in the review.
Okay.
But I saw it because it's on streaming now, and I happen to have MGM as part of my package on Prime Video, and I just said, you know what, let me watch this. And Tonya B, it was impressive.
Really?
It's brutal. Somebody mentioned one thing that I was not aware of, that even through all the brutality, and I watched it, I saw another reviewer talking about it, and there are no guns in it. So it had to be brutal. But what's in it? Janelle?
Thanks. No, well, okay, but it's brutal. Okay.
Janelle Monáe's in it as well, and I'm just here to tell you, it is. It deserves more than it's gotten.
Okay.
It's on Orion Films. Orion Films used to be a big deal back in the day. Now they're more of a niche film
indie film
studio. But I think it's almost criminal not to. And there's some folks who say, well, it's kind of like Color Purple, but I'm gonna get into that. A lot of folks, as you recall, a lot of folks got into that. Well, the black man got. Here's the deal. No, stop it. Color Purple was back in 1984, 85. Y'all.
We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that. This is a black director. It ain't Steven Spielberg.
Right.
It's a different level. We've had so much happen with black men, or so many opportunities to show black men in a positive light since 1984. Let's get over that and move on. But I'm going to do the review on that. Movies Is God Is. And Tonya B, thank you so much. I appreciate you for jumping on.
And that's why we love Hal Williams, because like you said, black men get unfair shake. Hal Williams.
But I will say this before I get into the review. We'll go to break and we'll come back with the review. One family, one monster. They're just some families with a monster. You know what I'm saying? And that story is that story. That's not everybody's story. But I'm here to tell you, Tonya B, this dude is nuts. If you ever want to see a movie where Sterling K. Brown plays a monster, this is it.
Now that shows you his range as an actor, because we all know him from, Mr. This Is Us and.
Oh yeah, nice guy, sweet demeanor always. But this movie, oh Lord, that's all I got to say.
Sterling K. Who?
We'll do the review. I'll do the review and we'll come back. Tonya B, thanks again. Yes, and you have a good week. Okay.
All right, and you know what next week is, right?
What is next week?
I gotta tell you, next week.
Michael Jackson's birthday is?
No. Let me say this: it's George Clinton's birthday, and the reason why I said it is I got to give him some dap, because we on George Clinton is like there's only one. But I want to tell you a quick fact about this man. When I talk about entrepreneurship and how you have to hang in there, do you know he financed one of his groundbreaking albums with $1.2 million in counterfeit money? It's in the book. It's not a lie. Look it up. Shout out to George Clinton. Thank you for the fun.
There you go. Go ahead, George. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
We'll come back.
All right.
We'll come back. We'll come back right after this. Thank you, Tonya B.
You're welcome.
What you watching this week, Tommy B?
This week, Christopher Nolan's big, loud 3-hour trauma bond known as The Odyssey hits theaters. But guess what, y'all? I'm not reviewing something that already tortured me in high school. I had enough. So instead, I'm taking it much, much smaller. We're talking about a gem that dropped in theaters this past May. Most of you missed it, but luckily for your couch, it is currently streaming on MGM Plus via Prime Video. From first-time director Alicia Harris, adapting her own award-winning play comes Is God Is. This mini-epic clocks in at a breezy hour and 39 minutes. And honestly, thank God. Given the brutality of the content, that short runtime was the perfect amount of pressure cooker tension I could handle. The film stars newcomers Cara Young, a Tonya award-winning Broadway powerhouse who plays the rough, outspoken Racine, and Mallory Johnson from the short-lived, if you remember, Kindred, as the quiet, gentle Anaya. These twins are deeply scarred, both emotionally and physically. Out of nowhere, they receive a letter from their disfigured mother, played by the iconic Vivica A. Fox, who they thought was dead. Her demand: enact vengeance on your daddy. And who is the father? The man responsible for all these scars, none other than Sterling K. Brown, playing the ultimate monster. Not only is this a revenge thriller, but it's a deeply moving portrayal of sisterhood. It's about how these girls love and protect each other, not just from the monster in the past, but from a cruel world that stares at their deformities. They have to deal with that every day. The Revenge Road Trip features some incredible stops along the way with a great cast. Erica Alexander, yes, that's Maxine Shaw, as an evangelist who has become the daddy's disciple. Janelle Monáe as the current wife who has officially reached her absolute limit. And without spoiling anything, Is God Is was a phenomenal, deep surprise with so much to unpack. The violence is handled, and I guess the best way to say it is beautifully. Some implied, some graphic, but never really gratuitous. As a matter of fact, it didn't even have guns in it. It leaves you with a constant, delicious sense of dread. So why didn't this film blow up at the box office? You may ask that. I have 3 theories. These are my theories, my opinion. Bad timing. It was released too close to Boot Riley's absurdist crime comedy I Love Boosters. That film underperformed, and it sucked up all the black indie dialogue. But make no mistake, Is God Is not to be compared to Boots' absurdism. Lazy criticism is another reason. The intellectually lazy Color Purple 2.0 argument clamored that the film reinforces negative stereotypes about black men. Please, y'all, the cinematic landscape has evolved beyond this tired discourse, with more black men writing, directing, and playing everything from civil rights heroes to comic book icons. We can allow a complex thriller to have a black male villain without it being a statement on an entire race. Come on, y'all. And finally, the studio factor. It's an Orion film. Orion has shrunk from the 1980s powerhouse it once was to become a niche indie brand. You can think about the movie it did, Nickel Boys. If A24 had slapped the logo on this bad boy, it would probably be a household name. Is God Is streaming right now. Go track it down. And then I want your thoughts. Head over to castropolis.net and hit the people poll. That's what I'm watching. I'm Tommy B. Give me your thoughts on Is God Is. Hit the people poll at castropolis.net. Love to hear from you. You know, for years we've been told that politics is about compromise and civility. But when Cory Booker released a warm, nostalgic tribute to a late colleague who spent his career dismantling our rights, it became crystal clear why he could never be my president. Senator Booker chose to publicly eulogize a chief architect of modern democratic erosion. Someone who validated attacks on our elections, packed our courts with extremist judges, and actively stripped away the fundamental right to abortion for millions of Americans. When Booker goes on video to praise this person's quote-unquote light and calling him a friend, he is choosing the collegiality of the Washington Club over real accountability. He's telling us that the devastating, life-altering consequences of these policies don't matter as much as the cozy relationship in the Senate cloakroom. Booker can't afford the luxury of his friendship because his own rights are never the ones on the chopping block. But the rest of us don't have that luxury. A president of the United States must possess the urgency of the people they represent. They must treat our survival and our fundamental rights as an absolute, non-negotiable red line, not as a minor details we can overlook for the sake of polite bipartisan theater. Cory Booker's tribute proved that his deepest allegiance is to the comfortable traditions of political elite, not to the people fighting for their lives. That's why he can never be my president. Okay? I welcome your thoughts. Go to castropolis.net, hit the people poll. Love to hear from you. And wherever you watch or listen, make sure you follow us. Please turn on the notifications for new episodes. Big thanks to Vi, Tonya B, Talib Shabazz, Hitman Howie, Harold Michael Harvey, Lady J. G podcast theme by Millennial Nick. I can go on and on, but that's kind of the short list. Big shout out to my text chain crew on Sundays. Thanks for accepting my weekly episode text. I appreciate you. With that, episode 320 is in the can, y'all. Have a great week. Have a great week, a big week. Peace and power to the people.
You've been listening to This is the G Podcast. And This is the G Podcast is a production of the Castropolis Podcast Network. Thanks for listening.